It's late January and typically the bass are on their way to the shallow water for the spawn. But a strong cold front has blown through, dropping the water temperature back into the low 50s, with it drawing the bass back to deeper water. How do you get a grasp on changing conditions? We'll get on the water with an expert. Here's Clark Wendlandt.
You know, I'm fishing a lake. I'm fishing a small lake that I've never fished before. And what I typically do, I get there, I notice there was coots on the water, I know there's a lot of grass. As soon as I put it in, I start my 1040 XS and I'm looking at my graph. And as I idle, what I'm noticing is a lot of grass. Typically, early season, pre-spawn, those fish are gonna be up over the top of the grass. And so as I just idle around, I'm gonna idle around for a bit before I even fish and just kind of see how high that grass actually grows. That'll give me an idea how deep a bait I need to throw. And I have any idea what I'm gonna catch them on, but this is where I start. So I've spent time idling around this lake. Never been here before, and the time of year it is, water temperature's mid-50s. And so what I think is that those fish are probably gonna be kind of near the outside edge. Now there may be plenty of fish up higher in that grass, farther out in the grass, but they may be smaller. But hey, fishing a new lake's just totally trial and error. You just get out there, you spend some time on the outside edge, you spend some time up over the top of the grass, you go up on the inside edge. You may even hit the bank and go flipping. It's not rocket science. What it is just trial and error. Get out there, throw, and if you get a bite, let it tell you something. That's the second bite I've had on that swim bait. He hit it, he popped it, and I thought it started loading up, but it didn't. The great thing about grass is it usually makes the lake better. That's almost always the case. The lake's always better if it's got some kind of cover, some kind of aquatic vegetation. But the other thing is for me, when I get to a new lake, it just makes my learning curve so much less. And because all I know is if there's grass, there's gonna be a lot of bass around it. It may not be the best way to fish, but there's a good chance it is the best way, and there's always gonna be some around it. There's one. Oh, that's a good feeling fish right there. Now, I've had 3, maybe 4 bites in a row. Oh yeah, that's a good one. Look at that fish, he can't even jump. He's so lethargic, he just ate that thing. Look at this bait so far down in his face. Oh. Oh my gosh. Now I was sitting there just talking about the fact that those could be good fish. You know, I'm getting a bite, I get a little tick, I get another little tick, and man, look at the size of that fish. Now, that's probably a 6-pounder. I mean, just a big fish in a small lake, East Texas, and there's grass. I'm over the top of the grass, picked up a swim bait. Oh, that is too awesome right there. Man, that bite was just like the other ones. I probably had 4 now, and I'm just reeling that thing real slow. I'm over the top of the grass. I can see the grass down there. The top of the grass is anywhere from 12 to 8 feet down. And so I'm having to wind, I'm throwing a 3/4 ounce swim bait, just reeling it real slow. And that one loaded up, and I could tell there was one there. Let's get another one.
Welcome back to the show. We're in East Texas chasing pre-spawn bass with Americana Outdoors' Clark Wendlandt.
Oh,
Though they were moving shallow earlier in the week, a strong cold front has the fish in deeper water, actively feeding over the flats as the day warms.
Now, that's 2 bites and 2 casts right there. Look at the fat belly on that dude. Gosh, that's a heavy fish.
It's late winter and the bass are on the move. It's easy to get overwhelmed with the variety of tackle needed to chase fish this time of year. So to help you out with that, we'll head to Cabela's, where Clark can offer some insight on picking the right rod for the pattern.
You know, when I'm picking a rod for the springtime, I'm usually thinking something winding. At Sam Rayburn, it's going to be shallow grass more than likely, so something coming up over that. Spinnerbait swim jig rod is to me the kind of action you want. It's a medium heavy action. It has a little bit of give to it. It's not a flipping rod, but I'm not thinking I'm going to be flipping. I think I'm going to be winding something up over that grass, because those fish are going to move up over the tops and edges of that grass to actually, you know, they're trying to get a little bit warmer, and they're gorging themselves on either shad or crawfish, and it's just that time of year. So I'm winding a bait, it's usually slowly. Something with a little slower action seems to work a little bit better. You know, we've gone a little bit without a bite and kind of come down the edge of that flat, grass kind of scattered, and a lot, I don't really know what's here. You know, where we started out, it was deep right out from the grass, and here it just seems kind of more flat and shallow. So what I'm gonna do is sit down, look at my 1040 XS and see if I can't figure out exactly if there's like a ditch out there, a little bit deeper water, kind of what the grass does. And that way it'll just cut my time down. I kind of know what I'm looking for. I'm just gonna see if I can find it. That right there to me looks like a little ditch. And so East Texas, anywhere you are, ditches are key. And so I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna see if that looks more like a ditch, then we'll end up fishing kind of over the edge of that right there. If you get a little cold snap, something cold, they'll move back off to those ditches. And so they'll stage in the ditches and move up to spawn. You gotta kind of figure out what part of the lake they're in. It's a great time of year. You can catch really big fish, but you have to be ready for the changing conditions. That's a good one there. Oh, those fish just don't have, they got zero fight left in them. Now look, I barely did hook that one. And I've been missing some of these fish. That's a good one right there. I've missed some of them, and I mean, the one right before this, about 2 casts before, I hooked him for just a second, and I have a feeling it was just barely in the skin of the mouth. But that's a good one right there. Fatty. What we did is we circled back to a place that I'd had 2 or 3 bites at earlier. I didn't catch a single one of them. Had that bite, 2 casts later, catch that one.